Talofa Lava, and welcome to Behind the Lava Lava Business Spotlight, where we highlight businesses and nonprofits that are making a difference in our community. I'm your host, Michael Tan, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Ati Muamingi. In this segment, we place the person behind the business, giving them a platform to share their unique experiences and connect with a wider audience. So our goal is to promote these businesses and give them the visibility they deserve. Our show is brought to you by Matai, a brand that embodies the essence of the Pacific Islands. Whether you're searching for a practical watch or eyewear to wear in your everyday life, or a stylish accessory that complements your relaxed island vibe, Matai has got you covered. This is Behind the Lava Lava. Let's get started. So today, we're excited to introduce Becky Gertler, manager of the Veteran Business Resource Center, also known as VBRC, located in Sandy, Utah. Hello, Becky. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, Michael. How are you?
Hi,
Doing good.
Hi.
So before we get into talking about VBRC and more importantly, the upcoming program, Strive, which is also known as the Startup Training Resources Inspiring Veteran Entrepreneurship, I like to go straight into icebreaker questions just to warm up.
Okay.
So our icebreaker question today is, what were you like as a child?
Oh, man. What was I like as a child?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a middle child of 8 kids. I was the freaking tornado of the family. Like, I was always the louder one. Because, when you're in the middle, you got to be loud to get what you need, right? Sometimes. And so my mom, I'm sure, shed plenty of tears for me. But for me as a middle child, like I always, we had fun and goofed around. But as a middle child, man, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I needed, and I had to be noisy to get it. So that was me.
That's funny. How about you, Wati?
Well, unlike the middle child, like Becky, I was I would say the practice child because I was the first. I'm the oldest of 5. So a lot of, I would say practicing because my parents, when, they kind of had me, a little bit towards their middle age. So they were already kind of figured things out. But then for growing up, I was a little bit wild, so I took a lot of the beatings on behalf of all my siblings. So if there was anybody to blame, I took the majority of all the the grunt of the heavy, don't spare the rod, spoil the child type deal. So I was the one that dealt with all of that. But hey, I'm here today. I don't have any mental health issues. Of course, stuff like that. But I do have some sort of nightmares a little bit here and there, but not. I kid around with my siblings. They're lucky to have me. So, but other than that, I was one of those wild little guys. We in our village back home in American Samoa, we used to run around a lot. Not the freedoms that we have here in the States anymore. Like a lot of the kids today, they're on their phones, laptops, iPads. Back then we had none of that. So we were outside running, enjoying the ocean. Had a lot of, injuries here and there, but, we overcame everything. So that was my, my young adult childhood life. Thanks for the question, T.
We tease my sister that my oldest sister, she raised my parents, right? And got them all ready for us, right? So you were raising your parents.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'm actually the second child out of 5, and my siblings were spoiled, so I was stuck with most of the chores and cooking in my family. But throughout my elementary years, I was similar to Ati. I was wild. If you've seen Tarzan when he was young, that was me up in the mountains, like chasing after, like back in Samoa, we had pig pens, and like the neighbors had their own pig pens, and when the pigs get out, we would have to chase after them and try to get them back in the pens. And we had plantations in Samoa, and we would help out with the plantations, the maumanga. So that was my life. I was always outside as a kid doing something, and it was pretty fun because I was out in the mountains helping out the neighbors, pretty much free. My parents didn't really care what I was doing. I was pretty much unsupervised until I got a little bit older, into what you would call junior high and high school, and I mellowed down. And throughout my high school, I was pretty much a reserved and quiet person after. So that's my story.
Yeah.
So extrovert to introvert.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Becky, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and a little bit about your family, your parents, siblings?
Yeah, my grandfather served an LDS mission in Samoa, and he served in both American and the other side of Samoa. And so I grew up hearing stories about that, and we have our kava bowl at my mom's house. We're doing our stuff there with the, and it was really cool. So we always felt connected that way. And my parents, I'm Utah girl, born, raised here, grew up in Taylorsville. Like I said, I was probably, my sister and I tease each other that we're the black sheep of the family because we always were getting into trouble of like where we want to go and, what we want to do. I was the first kid out of our family to actually go away to college. So I went to SUU, and it was fun. I got to be a DJ on the radio down there for a little while when they had the cool radio station. And then from there, I found a love of communicating with people, talking with everybody. I have 4 brothers, I have 3 sisters because my parents were math nerds. They were math teachers and they had to have it equal, right? 4 and 4. And I have great love of music from my mom. I played the piano since I was tiny. We always sang. We didn't like go into professional singing, but everyone wanted us to sing all the time. And so we always teased that we were the Von Trapps sometimes, but all good. It's all good. I'm not traumatized from it at all, but I have, as I went to SUU, I met my husband there, and then I decided I wanted to serve an LDS mission as well. And I went to the Netherlands and I spent time there. I also have what's called celiac disease, and I wasn't following the diet over there. It wasn't really easy to do so at the time. And so I ended up getting super sick and having to come home halfway through. And so I had to, learn how to deal with that loss of not feeling like I completed something that I set out to do. And that was hard, but my then boyfriend, now husband at the time, he waited for me, and I came home, and about a year later we got married, and we got, now, I don't know, what seems to me like 2 weeks later, it's now 24 years later, right? And we're here, and I've got 3 wonderful kids. They all have different personalities. They all have different likes and dislikes. One's totally into drawing, and she's going to go do some animation, my oldest. And then my middle child, he got into music, and he plays any instrument you can put in front of him. He'll figure out how to play. And my youngest is into soccer. So he's about 14, and they all have a great sense of humor. So we have a lot of laughing and fun at our house. And, I always tease people. I got, 3 kids. They have 2 cats. I have 1 husband. That's the Utah thing. But, but yeah, that's what we do. We're just living life here. And my career, I've bounced a little bit here and there, and I've learned a lot of different things in different industries. But my favorite has been really helping people learn how to kind of find their way through entrepreneurship. I helped my daughter start a business when she was 14, and now we're at the stage where we can finally start looking at manufacturing and learning the ropes there. But that's been eye-opening for me, but it's been also fun to see that moment. I was just telling Michael before we got started, we finished a class tonight, and the best part is seeing when when the students get done and they sit down, and the look on their face where they're like, I accomplished this. I actually did this. I was, something scary, and I did it. And that's kind of the whole deal of entrepreneurship. So that's me.
Thank you for sharing, Becky.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about entrepreneurship, can you tell us about the Veteran Business Resource Center?
Yeah, it was actually, it started as an idea. I think the scope of it was written on a napkin. They were kind of meeting about it and having a conversation. And when I say they, I mean the people at the Utah Department of Veterans and Military Affairs. They had a group of people they were kind of chatting with, and they decided that, there needs to be something. And they do a lot of good stuff for veterans here in the state of Utah, and Utah actually is miles ahead of some of the other states in how they support veterans. And they decided they needed to support veteran entrepreneurship. There's a lot of veterans that are trying to start businesses or grow them, and they needed to throw some support that way. So they came up with a plan, figured it out. The VBRC was born, and they housed them here at the community college at the Mill Entrepreneurship Center. So our offices are there. And because we're funded, we say our slogan, I guess, is your service paid for our service. So we don't charge for our business advising and our courses. And we do some workshops here and there. We have a conference that we do every year. But it's all centered around what's best for veterans and their businesses. Everything we do is really, that's the thought in our minds behind everything that we're doing here. We have business advisors who have years of experience. They've worked all over the country. They've worked all over the world, and they're veterans themselves. So they really can talk to the challenges that are faced by veterans as they're starting their businesses. We've been in existence for about 7 years. I came on just over a year ago and worked with Rick Brown. He was the former director here, and he moved on. He still is our lead instructor here. We have Jim Broussard, who's a great business advisor. You're not going to find two guys that care more about helping veterans succeed than these two guys here. I've been really lucky to learn from them and have them as mentors as we're kind of guiding people through this process. And we have a lot of different things that we do. We started a networking group that we worked really hard with the UDVMA, the Utah Department of Veterans and Military Affairs, and we created a business registry that veteran-owned businesses can go on. They can register to be part of this, and then their veteran status is verified, with the VA by them, and then we verify their business license with the state of Utah. And once those two things are cleared, then they get a decal that they can share, showing that they're a Utah veteran-owned business and they're recognized in the state of Utah. Prior to that, we didn't know unless they self-identified. And so that's been really important. And we looked at kind of how we can help the registry grow and connect people further. So we started this networking group, and they meet once a month. And you guys have come and presented a couple, I think 1 or 2 times, right? You've been there a couple of times, and it's been kind of fun to see that grow and have our veterans that get a chance to be in the spotlight for a minute, where they get to talk about their business, what they need. And then we have our classes and workshops that we do. We teach in the Boots to Business program with the VBOC and with the SBA, so the Veteran Business Outreach Center, the regional office there. And then the SBA, we teach with them at the Hill Air Force Base, and we're looking to kind of grow that out next year, hopefully. And this year we did a minnow tank where we had some seed funding where we could give out to people, and they pitched their business, and we had businesses compete for seed funding, and that was really fun to kind of be part of and spearhead and see how we want it to go. And then we also have our Strive program, our classes that we teach, which really is the Build Your Business course that walks them through everything of what they need to start their business. But we do a lot of different things, and we're dialed into the veteran community. We're dialed into the business community. We network all over the place, and we cover the whole state of Utah. So that was a very long answer.
I love it because now the veterans have a free resource that they can reach out to VBRC and utilize. But what would you say is unique about your organization? What's unique about VBRC that other organizations don't have?
I think the fact that we have the business expertise that we do, that's been really unique. We also have a tie to Syracuse University in New York. That's this through the Strive class. It actually gives our veterans that finish the program a whole set of resources that are available to them as alumni of their Institute for Veterans and Military Families. What is also unique about our program is that it also checks that box if, someone's working with their counselor through the Veteran Readiness and Employment Center and trying to look at doing the self-employment track, they can use the Strive class to kind of check that box to get that business education. That's been really a unique thing for Utah, and it's been fun to kind of help solidify and strengthen those relationships there.
Ask yourself, if I were to die tonight, would my family struggle to make just next month's bills? Not to mention every month after that. If you answered yes to that question, then life insurance is your best way to help your family be prepared. None of us know when we're going back home, and we've all known more than one person that was very young and healthy, yet still passed away unexpectedly. Now, the younger you are, the chances are smaller that you pass away before your parents, but are you willing to take that chance with your family's life? If not, then the next thing you need to figure out is how do you get the most of life insurance possible for the smallest amount of money. Most agents are captive agents selling only their captive agencies options, which are always the most expensive. You need an independent agent like Ray Keller, who started Independent Island Insurance Agency specifically to help everyone get the most affordable life insurance possible. He maintains access to every carrier out there and is never beat on price or quality. I mean, how do you beat someone on price or quality when they have access to it all? Short answer, you don't. Many have tried and all have failed. Reach out to Ray Keller at 435-200-4869 or find him on Facebook at Independent Island Insurance. Remember, with life insurance, you're either early or late. You're never on time.
So,
Thank you.
Becky, I understand that every organization or business have their own challenges. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered since you've been in VBRC?
For our businesses, ones that I've seen, the big one that everyone's going to, I think everyone would probably shout out is funding, finding funding to do their business. There's different challenges that come up, especially if you have a business model or a unique business that, for example, we do have a couple of businesses that are in firearms. You have to make sure you know your regulations for your industry. The things that, the questions that people should ask before they're getting into business really should be, do I know where my target market is? Do I know what they're looking for? And a lot of people think, I'm going to ask about my business to my friends and family, and they're not necessarily your target market. You really need to make sure that you're understanding where your market is, because then you're developing your service or your product to be something that they're going to buy or work with you on. I think some of the other challenges, especially when it comes to veterans, is that, this one I think is hard for any entrepreneur, is that you're in business, you're by yourself. Like, you don't have a squad of people behind you to kind of help you out. Like, you don't have that. And so that's something that I would love to see the VBRC become for our veteran entrepreneurs, so that they know they've got somewhere to come to. I've got a question on how do I handle this scenario in my business, or I have a question on, even down to, how do I sell things on Amazon? We have people that we can connect them to help them find their way through it. And I think that's for business, so funding is always a big thing, trying to find ways to connect to grants or opportunities, which really there aren't very many grants out there that as many people think that they are. There's some, but there's just, you've got to bootstrap the very beginning. And then once you reach a certain point, then you can find funding a little easier. That's the whole point of kind of getting into it and really seeing what's going to stick, right? So you want to be super intentional about what you're doing so that you're not spending a whole fortune just to try to find out if you have a product that's going to work. So remembering that you've got to not every idea is going to be the best idea, and knowing when to say, yeah, it's time to pivot, or let's do something different. I think that's one of the bigger things, because sometimes we see something, we're like, oh, this is such a great idea, and we fall in love with our own idea. I think that's something that's a big deal for people. But it is the funding that is the biggest issue. When it comes to veteran entrepreneurship, we do see, we do have the same percentage of minorities that we would have in regular everyday population, right? But that's something that's interesting and unique about veterans, is that they're also considered a minority group in and of themselves, and within that sphere they have those other minority groups too. So really understanding the scope of what is available to you, that's also been one of the challenges. And having somebody that can help you connect to those resources is a big deal.
Would you say that having women in the program is also an issue?
Like getting women to be in the program, or
getting women to be in whatever programs that are available to the VBRC?
Yeah, so there's, obviously, as we all know, there's the smaller percentage of women are veterans, right? There's not as many women veterans as there are men. That number is growing, and we're seeing that trend up from the latest numbers that we saw from that Syracuse put out. But that number is increasing, and trying to help them navigate through the challenges that are unique to them. When there's negotiations going on, when there's things that you have to present on, people do see things differently if a woman's presenting it versus a man, right? And so we have great instructors that know how to help navigate that and teach that, and they do a great job of helping them kind of think through of how they should speak up for themselves. A lot of women don't advocate for themselves. I am the perfect example of that in many cases in my life. And so for me, finding my voice recently and kind of using that, and now trying to help others learn how they can use it, I will advocate for that all day long. We just recently we're the only ones in the country right now that did this, but we did a women only veteran entrepreneurship class. And that was the class that finished tonight. And it was really amazing to see the difference of how quickly they bonded together, how supportive they were to each other early on. Not that the men aren't, but it just happened more quickly for the women. And that was a really fun thing to see.
Nice. Hey, Becky. First of all, I want to congratulate you again on the promotion. I know you started about a year ago.
Yeah.
And, you're a manager now. Amazing, amazing feat, especially considering BBRC has been only 7 years now, as you stated. My question goes in the lines of this. If I was a veteran and, just for so much for our listeners, and I wanted to get started with your program per se, would I have to go through like a program, say like a voc rehab? Would I have to be a certain percentage in order for me to start with your program? And from standard operating procedures, if I were to come to your office today, what's number one? What do I need to get done?
Yeah, no, those are great questions. And I get those a lot, actually. We do not have a rating requirement. So any veteran that comes in that wants to start a business, no matter where they're at, we actually define our mission statement actually says that our mission is to support the entrepreneurial needs of any veteran, which we classify as active duty, reserve, guard, and a spouse. So if you wore a U.S. military uniform or you were married to someone who did, we want to help you with your business. So if you were to show up at my office today and kind of say, what's available to me? I'd ask you first, I'd say, well, how much time do you have? Because I can talk about this all day. The second question is, I want to know what kind of business do you want to do? Because then that tells me which resource I need to connect you with. We actually, because we are a state entity, we actually really try hard to make sure we can hit those needs right away. So if it's something that you need financial projections for, we can help with that. We would probably dial you into our Strive class and get you started with that, and for our next round of classes coming up. And then I would just probably want to really understand what your business is that you want to do, and then kind of help you see how we can map out how to get you there. We actually help with research, market research. We can help with that kind of thing so that you do understand those questions that you're going to get if you want to go get funding, if you want to go get a bank loan or something like that, because that's really, we want to make sure that your business is viable. The one thing that I would ask, that I have started asking now, is that a lot of businesses, when they come to us when they need something, right? But we don't really hear from them when they don't. We'd love to hear from them when they're doing well too. We want to help champion that out and celebrate with you. So there's a lot of need out there in the state of Utah. I think the last statistic that I saw from the SBA was there's about 13,000 veteran-owned businesses in Utah. We've got our work cut out for us, but I'm just trying to get the word out that we're here, we're supportive. We have appointments available for our business advisors, and anything that anybody needs, let's get you started.
Can you touch specifically on what Strive classes are? What do they entail? Do they start with like, hey, this is what you need to do if you want to become an LLC, like a C Corp, S Corp, all those different entities, is that part of Strive, the Strive classes?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, and that's something that is really important actually to talk about, because when you get started, there's a lot of different entities, and they have different tax implications that you have to understand with them. And if you don't have someone to, when you're filling out your business license application, which we can help you do, and we don't charge for that either, but you have to decide what kind of a corporation or whatever you're going to be, if you're a sole proprietorship or whatever. And so having those legal discussions of learning that. So the Strive class is a 10-week build your business course, and it has it's once a week for 2 hours. And if you're in the traditional class, it's on Tuesdays. If you're in the women only class, it's on Thursdays from 4:30 to 6:30. We have them starting in January, but what you do, you'll start out with looking at the lean canvas model. You're looking at, what is my business idea? What do I want to do? Then you kind of look at, okay, I have this idea now for a service or a product. Now, who are my customers? Excuse me, who are my customers? Where can I find them? And then once you really understand that, then you can really start going to town on how you're going to do your marketing. How are you going to reach them? What's your value proposition? What's going to set you apart in your industry? What does your research show? Who are your competitors? So we walk you through how to do all of these things. And specifically to your question, we have a conversation about what is the legal implication for your industry. What do you do? How do you set up your company? And what's nice about it, and the way that we get to do it, is that we have the ability to tailor it to the students that are in the class.
So, Becky, for the Strive program, is it only available to veterans?
Our program is available to veterans and spouses.
And can anyone, especially those from other states, can they join this program?
If we do have someone from out of state that needs to take it, and there isn't a way that they can do it online, we can broadcast it, but really the focus is to try and keep everybody together and in the room together so that they can do it. The way that we do it throughout the state is we do have pockets where they can get together and take this Strive class together, and that makes it a lot easier for everybody around the state.
This is a wealth of resource here, for any of our listeners in Utah that's listening up. This is, when I was starting, before Behind the Lava, when I was starting a business in Hawaii, I wish we had a resource center like this in Hawaii. Are you guys only located in Utah or any other states?
No, there are, because we're a state entity. So going back to Michael's question too, like our focus is on the state of Utah. We are funded to do that, and that's where we focus on. Other states may have they have veteran business resources. Actually, the UDVMA went ahead and they were asked to present on the model that they set up here for the state of Utah to the rest of the country, and they won we were given an award based on what we did, the work that we do here. The Strive class is really important to help our veterans kind of learn how to build their business. And what that does is it also bridges them into other education programs that they can get through Syracuse University or through here. We have other programs available to them that they can go into to kind of keep growing their business. So it's really not a let's get you through one program and then have you go and then we're done with you. Like we have a whole, it's like we put you in this, you're in this boat, right? And we have this whole cool river that you can go down that has a whole tourist guide with you the whole time. And that's really the whole point of the VBRC.
And to my understanding, Becky, you work in collaboration with the Veterans Business Outreach Center, the VBOC.
Mm-hmm. We do. We have a regional office, and that's Rick Brown is the director of that, and they cover the Wyoming, Montana, and Utah. So they have some other resources and availability there to help veterans, and they teach the Boots to Business course. So they do come, we work with them and teaching the Boots to Business. And if nobody knows what that is, that's actually a program that they teach in TAP, which is the Transition Assistance Program for veterans that are getting out of the military, to kind of give them some classes they can take and kind of plan out what they're going to do after they get out of the military. And the Boots to Business course is the one that if there's anybody looking at entrepreneurship, they can do that. And we help them understand how to get ready to do that. And then we dial them in. Hopefully they come into the VBRC and we help them.
And are there any other programs that we can look forward to with VBRC? Any future plans?
For now, we're kind of staying the course for what we're doing. We started the networking group. We're trying to see that grow with our business registry, get as many people as we can connected to veteran businesses, and just trying to see where we can strengthen. We're growing our business advising and our team here so that we can actually make sure we're meeting the needs of our entrepreneurial veterans here. And then, we'll see where we go from here. We also, in addition to what we've talked about, we have a veteran-owned business conference that we put on every May. So mark your calendars. It's May 10th next year, but it's usually at the Miller campus here in Sandy. And last year we had about 200 attendees. We had veteran-owned businesses there. We had resource partners that came and did breakout sessions, and we're looking to see that grow on a bigger scale. It'll be really we're getting some subject matter experts to come in and kind of bring that heightened awareness there, and we have a committee that helps to plan those things. But that's going to be a big deal next year. And then in November, we just had our Unite conference, which we do in St. George. It's a smaller version of our conference that we do up here. And that's really put on by the SBA for National Veteran Small Business Week, which was just at the beginning of November. And we had a great speaker come, and he was Donald McDonald. He used to be the CFO for Intel. And it was interesting to hear his perspective because he also was the CFO for MX Technologies here in Utah. So he gave his contrasting experiences, if you will, of working with a huge budget versus a small budget. And it was great. We had some really great attendance there and really good conversations that were had to connect people to resource partners that are here.
You said the funding purposes. Do you guys help with for example, if I have a good idea, I have my business plan, everything's all working, and do you guys assist with the funding, or do you guys help out to find the resources for the prospective entrepreneur, veteran to look for funding? Or do you guys have, I know you touched on it, that there was a competition to see who could,
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you guys are trying to do more of going forward?
It really depends on the support that we get. If I can pull in the funding for it, then we would love to do it. We called it a minnow tank because, we weren't doing a Shark Tank. We don't have that deep of pockets, but we called it a minnow tank. And it was a great experience. We learned a lot. We kind of cut our teeth on that type of a program for our organization. Would love to do it again. but it really is dependent on the funding, if we pull in the sponsorships to make sure that that happens again. What we can do is we can talk about different types of, loans, what things make sense. If there's grants available, there's one thing that we haven't really even touched on that a lot of people, it takes a long time. It's a process to do, but getting government contracts, there's a lot of money available there too. And so it just takes time, it takes time and tenacity. That's usually what an entrepreneur needs to have. But it's, we don't have a pocket of money that we can say, here's some money to start your business. But we do work with all of our lenders. We have microloans. We have people that we don't have them, but we have people that do provide those, like the Utah Microloan Fund or MoFi. We have our credit unions and our banks that we work with, and they're all very focused on seeing how they can support and help and lift. And, if you're working with a bank or credit union, they have their parameters that they have to work in with regulatory stuff. So it's just finding the best fit and then getting the businesses prepared to go get the funding that they need.
What aspects of your role in VBRC do you enjoy the most?
Oh man, there's a lot. I actually really enjoy the team we work with. I think that I've learned more from them than I will ever teach them, of course, but I learn from them a lot every day. And then I think I don't really feel like I work. I feel like I just help people, and that's what I love. And so my favorite part is, getting to talk with some of our veteran businesses, learning what they want to do, and then seeing the lights click when they figure out what they want to do. I mostly work with them on their social media, online presence stuff. And it's fun to kind of help them see the path forward of what they want to accomplish and how that's going to work to drive their bottom line. But I also love, getting to see them be the stars of what we're doing here. That's been probably the best part of what we do, seeing them be successful. If we're not doing that, then I'm doing something wrong. That's the whole point. The whole point is the veteran businesses. What are we doing to drive help for them? And that's probably my favorite part about this whole thing.
And how can people find you on social media, your websites? How can people contact you if they're interested in VBRC or the Strive program?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's www. I shouldn't say that. That's so old school. I just dated myself from the 90s. It's actually Utah VBRC. So for Veteran Business Resource Center.org. And everything's on there. You'll find the information for Strive and information about the things that we do and why we do what we do. But yeah, we've got a calendar out of things that we're going to be doing next year. And if you're looking to feature your business and you're a veteran, let me know. I'd love to reach out and chat with you and kind of learn more about your business and get you signed up for one of our networking events to have you highlighted as one of our features.
Thank you very much, Becky. We really appreciate you joining us today. Any last remarks or shout-outs?
Oh boy. We work a lot with a lot of really cool people. And if you're not a veteran and you're like, oh, what's out there for me? Get to your local small business development center. They're all over. We have 14 here in the state of Utah. They're all focused on helping small businesses grow. Look at the resources you have in your community and reach out. If you need connection to something, let me know. Let somebody know that you need help at the SBDCs around the area. There's your local SBA offices. Those are all the SBDCs and the SBAs they're all across the country. You can access them from pretty much anywhere. Just search for them. But we pay for their services in our taxes, and they don't charge for their services either. So if I could give a shout out to them, they're warriors, man. They just keep going and helping and lifting to help entrepreneurship along the way. And then I really enjoy, like I said this before, but our team is really an awesome team. Working with Jim and Rick, and we're looking to hire another business advisor, hopefully, if all goes well. And then our executive director here at the mill, Beth Colosimo, she's she's always a champion of entrepreneurship. And so just the people here that I work with, we have the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program here at the mill. We have the Global Business Resource Center with Vanita. She's amazing. And we also have, I mentioned the SBDC, we have the Apex Accelerator. So, I mean, I can give shout outs all day because I can talk about everything all day long. But it's really, people like you guys helping us to spread the word. Thank you for that. And hopefully we're doing a good job. So people keep coming back.
Just want to say I really appreciate you for taking your time out of your hectic schedule to come up here and give us your time, so that way a lot of other veterans can know what's out there for them. You guys, if you're listening, and you want to go get some contracts with the federal government, Sam's and Dunn's and Bradstreet, those are headaches. And I'm telling you from experience, I had the opportunity to have been helped by one of your guys' program, although albeit in another state in Hawaii. But get out there, need help, reach out to them. And again, thank you so much, Becky, for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Behind the Lava Lava Business Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Remember, the businesses or nonprofits we feature in our show are always looking for support. So be sure to check out their websites and social media pages to learn more and see how you can get involved. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow Behind the Lava Lava and leave us a review. And thank you for joining us. This is Michael Tan signing off from Behind the Lava Lava. Tofaso Ifua.